Good morning, students. Welcome to Chanakya Academy online classes, Standard 12 Science, subject Biology. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, chapter number 14, Ecosystem. So let's start. Yes, so again I'm here with a new chapter, chapter number 14, Ecosystem. Okay, this is again a chapter which is dealing with ecology. Okay, and this chapter is very much interesting and easy for you to score marks in your board class. Okay, so what are topic we will study in these? Let's see. So the first topic that we will cover is the ecosystem, its structure and function. Okay, what are the structure of ecosystem and what are its function? Okay, then we'll study about productivity, followed by decomposition, energy flow. Okay, how the energy is flowing from one area to another area. Then ecological pyramid, ecological succession, nutrient cycle and ecosystem services. So these are some of the points that we will cover in this chapter. Okay, so if we start with ecosystem. Okay, as you know that ecosystem is a very wide content. Okay, and it can be visualized as a as the functional unit of nature. Okay, so how can we say, or how can we exactly define an ecosystem? Okay, it is the functional unit of nature. So in nature, whatever things are interacting among each other, okay, it may be living or non-living, but there is interaction between them. So that is your ecosystem. Okay, where living organisms interact among themselves. Okay, so all the living organism, plants, animals, microbes, insects, birds, okay, whatever organisms which you see, there is an interaction between them. Okay, what it is? There is an interaction between them. They interact with each other and also with the surrounding physical environment. This means that the biotic community, okay, that means the living organisms which you see, and the physical environment, that is the abiotic community, both of them interact together, and with this interaction we can see a functional unit, and this is your ecosystem. Understood? Yes. So ecosystem varies greatly in size from a small pond to a large forest or a sea. So ecosystem doesn't mean that it should always have a large area. A small pond will have an ecosystem because the small plants will have abiotic and biotic factors also. Now let me talk about biotic and abiotic factors. See, these factors you must be knowing, but let's explain them a little bit, because these two words, that is biotic as well as abiotic word, we will continuously use in this chapter. Okay, so abiotic factors are those which are non-living, but they support the living organisms. So which are these abiotic factors, you must be thinking? Yes, so these abiotic factors are temperature, okay, followed by water, then we have light, we have soil. Okay, so these are your main abiotic factors. And you know that whatever organism you take, okay, maybe plant, animal or microbe, all of them require appropriate temperature. Okay, this you know, that each and every organism, for them to survive, appropriate temperature is required. So here abiotic factors play a very important role. Then second abiotic factor is water. Okay, and again you know that water is very essential for all the organisms which are living on this earth. And if we talk about aquatic organisms, aquatic plants and aquatic animals, this water is very essential for them. Yes, so water is also, you can say, it is an important abiotic factor. Then comes the light. Light, again, for photosynthesis process the light is required, and we have done photoperiodism in 11th standard. Okay, that means light is dependent for certain organisms, for certain seasonal plants, for them to produce flower. Okay, so light is again a very important factor for doing photosynthesis as well as photoperiodism. Okay, for these two phenomena we require light. And last is soil. Okay, again soil is very important. So with this we can say that abiotic factor plays a very important role in an ecosystem, because all the biotic factors some or the other way they are dependent on this abiotic factors. Now biotic factors, I no need to explain what are abiotic factors, but still abiotic factors means those organisms which are living on the earth. They may be classified as either plants, animals or microbes. Okay, so with this is a general introduction of an ecosystem where it consists of abiotic as well as biotic factors which interact with each other and do a function. Okay, yes, now let's move further. Since this system is too much big and complex to be studied at one time, it is convenient to divide it into two basic categories. Okay, now we have just seen examples like in small pond or in large areas like forest or sea. The ecosystem is present. Okay, so in small pond, if we take a small pond, we will have the abiotic factors also and biotic factors also in them, and both of them together makes the organisms to survive in them. Likewise, large forest also will have abiotic as well as biotic factors, and these two, okay, consist of an ecosystem. So if we categorize this into two main parts, it can be either terrestrial or aquatic. Okay, so those organisms which are dependent on land are called as terrestrial, and those dependent on water are aquatic. Okay, we don't need to explain this. Now if we talk about terrestrial organisms, okay, terrestrial organisms can be many. Forest, okay, comes under this. Then grasslands, desert are some example of terrestrial ecosystem. Okay, forest which you see, okay, the grassland, the various long grasses, desert, okay, mangroves, all these areas largely come under terrestrial ecosystem. Okay, then pond, lakes, wetlands, rivers, estuaries are examples of aquatic ecosystem. Okay, where usually water plays a very important factor. Okay, so all the organism, maybe they are living either in pond, in lake or in river or in estuaries, water plays a very important role. Okay, again this terrestrial and aquatic, they are being further classified, but that we will study later on. Like what I am talking about is that aquatic organisms, they can be dependent on they can be further classified into two things, that is either fresh water or marine. Okay, so freshwater organisms, they have a proper factors like temperature, soil, humidity, pH, salinity. All these factors are suitable for the organisms to survive in that fresh water. Okay, likewise in saline water. Okay, they have different salinity, they have different concentration of salt ions. So those organisms who are living there are called as marine organisms. Okay, so this is the further classification, and this that we will study later on. Okay, so you only need to know that ecosystem are divided into two basic categories: terrestrial and aquatic. Okay, yes, now let's move further. We will first look at the structure of ecosystem in order to appreciate the input. Okay, that is productivity. Transfer of energy, that is food chain, food web, the nutrient cycles. Okay, and the output, that is degradation and energy loss. Okay, so what we have to see in ecosystem, or what exactly the structure of ecosystem looks like. Okay, so we should have an input. Okay, so some input should be there in that ecosystem. After putting the input, the energy should be transferred from one to another. Okay, and then output should be there, so that this cycle gets complete. Okay, so input, then energy will be transferred from one to another, and there should be an output. Okay, we will also look at the relationship, cycle, chains, webs that are created as a result of these energy flow within the system and their interrelationship. So these are the main topics that we will discuss on. And see students, all these topics you have done. So again I'll tell you, whatever thing you are writing or giving answer, always give examples, always state examples. Because if we are talking about food chain, if we are talking about food web, if we are talking about pyramids, define it, explain it with example, because your example plays a very important role in writing it. Okay, yes, now let's move further. Yes, the first topic, ecosystem, structure and function. Okay, so we have just discussed about the abiotic and biotic components. Okay, now let's move further. You studied how the individual biotic and abiotic factor affects each other and their surrounding. Let us look at these components in a more integrated manner and see how the flow of energy takes place within these components of the ecosystem. Interaction of your biotic and abiotic components. Okay, this is again a very important thing. Okay, interaction of biotic and abiotic component. Okay, that means whatever things are interacting. Okay, both biotic and abiotic. Okay, listen this very carefully. Interaction of biotic and abiotic components result in the physical structure that is characteristics for each type of ecosystem. Okay, so both abiotic and biotic factors, they interact. Okay, so when they interact, what we are getting the physical structure, okay, of ecosystem. Okay, result in the physical structure that is characteristics for each type of ecosystem. Okay, so identification and enumeration of plants and animal species of an ecosystem gives its species composition. Okay, vertical distribution of different species occupying different levels is called stratification. For example, tree occupies top vertical strata or layer of a forest, shrubs the second, and the herbs and the grass occupies the bottom layers. Okay, so what they are telling is ki whenever we are taking an area, okay, that area in an ecosystem will give you the exact number or composition of species which is present in that area. Okay, what it will give? It will give species composition. Okay, so how we will distribute it? We will distribute it vertically. Okay, so what is stratification? Stratification is vertical distribution of different species. Okay, it is vertical distribution of different species that occupying different levels. Okay, the examples, with this example they have explained very beautifully. We know that trees occupying the more area. Okay, vertically if we are seeing, this will cover the maximum height, that is the tree. Then we have the second layer which will be shrubs, followed by your herbs and grasses. Okay, so this is vertical stratification. Likewise, if we talk about birds also, in birds also, suppose if we are taking an area, birds also can be stratified vertically or it can be distributed vertically. How? Because there are some birds which fly very high. Okay, like eagles, they are flying very high. Then we have the next level, which are usually the crows, pigeons. Okay, then comes little lower area, which are sparrows. Okay, small birds. Okay, so with this we can classify, or we can say species composition can be done, vertical distribution can be done of a particular species. Okay, so this is your stratification. Okay, the components of the ecosystem are seen to function as a unit when you consider the following aspects. What are they? First one, productivity. Second, decomposition. Third, energy flow. And fourth is nutrient cycle. Okay, so these are your main 4 components of the ecosystem. Okay, what are they? Components of ecosystem are seen to function as a unit. Okay, that means in an ecosystem there are various components. Yes, and all of them are seen to function as a unit. One after the another they will function, and as they are functioning, the ecosystem is running smoothly. So it is having productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrient cycle. So all the 4 we will take one by one and will explain them. To understand the ethos of an aquatic ecosystem, let us take a small pond as an example. Okay, again they are stating an example. This is fairly a self-sustainable unit, and that a simple example that explain even the complex interaction that exists in an aquatic ecosystem. Okay, a pond is shallow water body. This you know. Okay, in which all the above mentioned 4 basic components of an ecosystem are well established. Okay, that means whatever ecosystem we take, all the 4 components will run properly, it will function properly. So with this we can say that the ecosystem is running. So how they are explaining? They are explaining it with the help of an example by taking a pond which is having shallow water. Okay, so what it will have? The abiotic component is the water with all the dissolved inorganic and organic substance and the rich soil deposit at the bottom of the pond. Okay, solar input, the cycle of temperature, day length, and other climatic conditions regulate the rate of function of entire pond. Okay, so these are the abiotic factors which are running properly. Okay, so what will happen now? The autotrophic component includes the phytoplanktons, some algae, and the floating, submerged, and marginal plants form at the edge. The composers are represented by zooplanktons, the free swimming, and the bottom dwellers form. So we know that we have this inorganic, organic substances. We will have temperature, then sunlight, climate condition proper, all these. And all these will have the phytoplankton, some algae to grow properly, do the process of photosynthesis. And we will be having some zooplanktons, free swimming organisms, bottom dwellers we will be having. Okay, and in the pond we will also have decomposers like fungi, bacteria, some other organisms. Okay, so what is happening in that single pond? We are having abiotic as well as biotic factors. Okay, first of all. Second, what we will have? We will have an input. That input is what? The inorganic and organic substances which are there. The soil will have different ions. Okay, and after that the phytoplanktons will process the food. That food will go into zooplanktons and then to fishes. Then what will happen? All of them, some of the other time they will die. So the decomposers will decompose them. So what is happening? The energy flow is also there. So let's see what is happening. Productivity is there. We are producing. Okay. Decomposition is there because the decomposers will decompose. Okay. Energy flow will be there. How? From one level to another level, that is from phytoplanktons to zooplanktons to fishes, small fishes, large fishes. Energy flow will be there, and as the energy flow is there, there will be a nutrient cycles also which will be running. So this whole system, okay, will perform all the function of an ecosystem and of biosphere as a whole. So this small thing is also performing all the function. Okay, so conversion of inorganic to organic material with the help of radiant energy of the sun, okay, by the autotrophs. Consumption of the autotroph by heterotroph, decomposers, and mineralizations of the dead matter to release them back for the reuse by the autotroph. This event are repeated over and over again. So this is unidirectional movement of energy towards the high trophic level and is this. So what is happening in that particular ecosystem? All the functions are running properly. Okay, that we have just seen. So if they are asking you to shortly describe the component of ecosystem, so you will write the 4 point, and with the example of a pond which is having shallow water, you will explain it. So you have just seen the components. Okay, again I'll tell you which are the 4 components. See, you have to learn this order only. Write the order like that only. So first productivity, because they have to produce. Then decomposers, energy flow, and nutrient cycle. So these are your main component of ecosystem. Okay. Then we have just seen with the example of pond. Okay, now let's move further with the first component and let's see each and every component step by step. Okay, yes, so the first topic is productivity. Okay, so if we talk about productivity, what is productivity? A constant input of solar energy is the basic requirement for any ecosystem to function and sustain. Primary productivity is defined as the amount of biomass or organic matter produced per unit area over a time period by plants during photosynthesis. Okay, so if we say about productivity is coming from the word produce. Okay, so we have to produce something, and what we are producing energy. Okay, we have to produce energy. Okay, so how can we produce? By some inorganic substances. Okay, so it is the amount of biomass. Okay, whatever biomass the plant is producing, or organic matter. Okay, from inorganic we are producing organic, which will be the organic matters, like glucose will be there. Okay, glucose will be converted into sucrose, so that will be our organic matter. Okay, so that will be produced per unit area over a time period by the plants. Okay, and it can be expressed in term of weight or energy. Okay, so we can say it that whatever organic matter is produced, ultimately that will give us energy, and that energy will be utilized. Okay, so the rate of biomass production is called as productivity. Okay, it is expressed in terms of kg minus 2 per year or kilocalories per meter minus 2 per year. Okay, to compare the, now what they are doing is they are comparing it with the years. Okay, so how many time period they have just shown. Okay, so whatever biomass they are preparing, it is dependent on the year. Okay, time period is a factor for them. Okay, so it can be divided into gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Now what is this GPP and NPP? GPP, that is gross primary productivity of an ecosystem, is the rate of production. Okay, that is rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. Okay, that is simply your GPP. Whatever energy you are preparing, whatever organic matter you are producing, their rate will give you GPP. Okay, a considerable amount of GPP is utilized by the plant in respiration. Okay, so now we know that they have prepared the food. Okay, that means suppose let's see they have prepared glucose. Okay, so whatever glucose they have prepared, that will be your GPP. Okay, but after preparing it, they will be requiring it, they will be utilizing it during respiration. Okay, so a considerable amount of GPP is utilized by plants in respiration. So gross primary productivity minus respiration loss is net primary productivities. Okay, because they cannot always make the food. Okay, they need to utilize also. So whenever they are utilizing it, you will get NPP, that is GPP minus your respiration. Okay, so net primary productivity is the available biomass for the consumption to heterotrophs. Okay, so what is happening? NPP, that is net primary productivity, is the available biomass. Okay, that means from one level it is going to another level, that is the autotroph will be consumed by heterotroph. So heterotroph will get NPP. Okay, the biomass will be in the form of NPP because GPP they have produced, and from that GPP some of the energy or some of the biomass it will be utilized by the plants. So now they are having NPP as their net primary productivity, and that will be available for heterotroph. Understood? Secondary productivity is defined as the rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers. Okay, so what they will do? After that, a new organic matter will be formed, it will be consumed. So that will be your secondary productivity. Okay, so this definitions, just go through it. Which definition? Your GPP, what is GPP, what is NPP, okay, what is productivity, all this, just go through it. Primary productivity depends on the plant species inhabiting a particular areas. It also depends on a variety of environmental factors, availability of nutrients and photosynthetic capacity of a plant. Okay, this you know. Okay, no need to explain this. Therefore, it varies in different types of ecosystem. Okay, so we can say there are many factors, environmental factors, the nutrient and the photosynthetic capacity. All of them is directly dependent on primary productivity. Okay, the annual net primary productivity of the whole biosphere is approximately 170 billion tons of organic matter. Okay, of this, despite occupying about 70% of the surface, the productivity of the oceans are only 55 million tons. Rest of the source is on land. Okay, so we can say that whatever biomass is available, that will provide energy to the ecosystem. Okay, so with this we have finished with one content. Okay, that is productivity. Tomorrow we'll start with the next topic, that is the decomposers. Okay, so just go through whatever topic I have discussed. Start making notes. This is, again and again I'm telling you, this is a very easy, very interesting and very you can say scoring subject, so a scoring chapter, which will help you in scoring marks. Okay, so with this I end the today's lecture. Thank you.